welcome back to Wendy's Colouring, and today is the third part of my page in Gabi Wolf's Mania 3 colouring book, and I was in the middle of this page as a colour along. So we've been using pretty much my Don't Chroma Flows, and that's pretty much it, isn't it? I've used some acrylic pens for the outline work. I'm going to continue with that as well, no doubt. And today, yeah, I'd like to get this page finished off so it's done and another page complete in this book. Yeah, undoubtedly this book has been a fave at the moment. 4 and 5 might have accidentally, obviously, fallen in my basket with Amazon. But yeah, I've been loving this page, and there's still quite a few pages that I want to get done in this one as well. I've started on a couple of backgrounds, I think, somewhere amongst my tat in this page. So yeah, I've started on a little bit of a background there. Started on a background there. There's a bit of backgrounds going on. It's when I'm stressed, I think. So yeah, we've got the tortoise to do today. There's a little bit of greenery, but not much. And obviously his little fishing line with the leaf on to keep the tortoise moving. And we've got the little house to do, a little bit of flower work, and again, a little bit of the background. I seem to have put a little bit of the dark green into the background already, and a little bit of leaf work here. So not much today to get done. Compared to what we've done on the other pages. Hopefully should be a little bit of the shorter video. Oh, I've got the little carrot plant as well to do, but hopefully should be a little bit easier to get through. So I think I'm going to start with the little house first. So I'm just gonna have a think about what colours I want. I don't even know where to put my pencil case. I don't think this is going to be the most decisive videos today because I can't even decide where to put my pencil case down. So I'm thinking we've not got a huge amount of browns, have we? I've got a little bit of brown in the stalk and a little bit in the bottom of the mushroom down there, so I don't think we'll need to worry too much about too much brown. I think I'm going to pick out those, which I'll show you which they are in a second, and maybe something a bit lighter, maybe that one. And maybe that one. Let me look. So I've got in my hand, let's try and get them so I can actually read them on camera with you so you can see them all. So I've got lightest one is Peach Sand 1870. I've got Burnt Sienna, which is 1900. I've got Coffee Bean, which is 2010. I've got Raisin, which is 2000, and I've got Redwood 1920. So I'm thinking I'm going to use all of those for the wood kind of look that this house seems to have. I don't know why I think it's wood. I suppose it's because of the little lines that are on it. So I'm just going to sharpen a couple of them first, just so I've got the surface, because it's not the biggest of spaces. So I'm thinking I don't want these too blunt. So we can actually get into the detail, although you know they're probably just going to snap any second as soon as I start using them, because that's what always happens, isn't it? So we'll go in a little bit just so you can see a little bit easier. But yeah, I've got all of these in my hand, so I'll probably just swap between them as we're going. I'm thinking I'm going to start with the kind of mid colour of the pack, because I've kind of got two darker ones. Helps if it focuses camera. There we go. If I do it that way, will it focus? Two darker ones. Put it back. So I've got kind of two darker ones, two mid, and a quite light one. So I'm going to start with this kind of middle one, which is the Redwood, just because I'm thinking I'm going to put a few more of these kind of woody looking lines in, just to kind of exaggerate that kind of effect that Gabi's already started on the drawing anyway. And we'll do the same on this bit, even though it kind of looks like it's going to be a different coloured wood or surface. Then I'm going to go with the next darkest one up, which was the Raisin, to just start putting a little bit of shadow under the roof line of this little building, so it kind of Gives the impression like these are different surfaces. But there goes the first one that I've snapped. No surprises there. I think I'm going to put the same bit of shadow in there as well. Maybe a little bit around the window. A little bit around the stone edging. Just on one side like that. Then going back into the lighter, so I've got burnt sienna now. I think I'm probably just going to carry on with this kind of liney look. So just deliberately kind of keeping my lines not too tidy, but horizontal shaped. Kind of give this kind of, I don't know, a woody feel to it, I suppose. And then we'll try with something a bit darker, so back in with the raisin. Not going to go crazy with this one though. I don't want too much darker lines, I don't think. So just being a little bit more soft when I'm putting this one down. I'm not pressing on very much at all, so I'm getting a little bit of the colour, but it's not overpowering the marks that I've made already. And then possibly using this lighter one, which is peach sand, to kind of pull it all together, but I'm still kind of keeping my pencil horizontal to kind of get that kind of hopefully slightly kind of woody effect without us drawing in wood grain and all of that. I'll cheat and go upwards there though. I'm just going to try and blend those in a little bit. Just basically using this lighter colour to blend it all together now really, but keeping all my marks in this kind of horizontal direction to kind of, apart from this on the edge where I'm being lazy. I'm just trying to make it look like feels a bit like it's made of wood maybe. And I'm going to do something similar on the door, but obviously keep the directions vertical this time. Might put a bit more colour in the door as well. It's not too bad, is it? It feels slightly woody. So I'm going to pick the very darkest one, which was Coffee Bean. Doesn't want to focus, sorry. No, you may not see that it says Coffee Bean. My camera says no, sorry. But yeah, just putting a touch in the sections under the roof. And under this little beam here. Do a little bit under the window as well. Okay. So I think I want some colours for the door. I don't know why, but I want the door to have a bit of red in it, but not be kind of shouty red. So I'm thinking I'm going to stick with a number of those browns that I've got out, but I've also got to add in. I've got Pure Red 510 and I've got Sangria 620 that I just need to sharpen the Sangria. I'm going to do the same again. Let's just get these sorted out so I know where I am with them. So we're back in the tonal order in my hand. So I've got my two extras to give me a bit more colour, and then my lightest to darkest in my hand. And I think I'm just going to start the little marks off with the Sangria. Because this is a much smaller space, so might do that. These beams as well, the same colour as this door, just to kind of tie it in. I'm going to use a little bit of the red, I think, just so it feels a little bit like it's a bit different but still woody. Might be a few too many lines, we'll see. Yeah, we'll go on that one. This one's the Burnt Sienna. I think we'll do the lightest one and come back in with some dark. So this one's back to the peach sand that I've used to blend all of that. It's the same colour that I'm blending these. I think this might need a bit more dark in it though, but just get rid of some of the white and then have a look. I think I want a bit more red. Maybe a bit back in with the Sangria as well. That's where the seams are in the panels. And where the shadow is a little bit. With the Sangria. Then in with the darker ones, so Raisin. Don't want to go too mad with these dark ones because I want this to still have that kind of ready look. very dark one, Coffee Bean. Yeah, it's okay, isn't it? So I'm going to use the same colours on the beams. Just get rid of my snapped bits. So I think we'll start with a bit of the sangria. It's a bit more tricky in the beam space because they're such small spaces. But I'm going to just try and add similar kind of line work in all of these. A little bit of the red again. And then burnt sienna. Not much room for the burnt sienna really. And we'll go in with the lighter one, peach sand, just to kind of soften it all together. Going with the raisin. It's not going to focus, but just and finally the very darkest cocoa bean again. I'm thinking I might do the window ledge in these colours as well, so it kind of matches the door. I've got these in my hand. So sangria. I have to be careful it doesn't get lost in the background, this, because it's so close to the other wood. So quite a bit of red just to make sure it looks different. And I'm going to go straight in with the lighter one, I think. There's just so little space. And then a little bit with the cocoa bean. Snapped it. Okay. Get rid of my snap bits. Okay, so we've got the stone. I'm thinking whatever I do with these stones, I'm going to do the same with the little tiles on the roof that we can see, and possibly the little bit on top of the roof as well. So I'm thinking we kind of want some stony colours out. So I'll get a few out and then I'll go through what I've lifted out. And something dark. Take all of them, I think. Better to have too many than not quite enough. I'll take that as well. And maybe that. Right, more than enough. As usual, way too many pencils for such a tiny space. I probably won't use all of these, but I've got them in my hand should I want to. So I've got Pebble 2120, Basalt Grey 2130, Dijon 1850, I've got Morning Mist 2110, Biscotti 2105, Carbon Grey 2140, Nutshell 2002, and Almond Frost 2143. And yeah, I've got a couple that need a sharpen because these are quite small little spaces, so sorry, I'm going to need to sharpen quite a few just to finish this little bit off. Right. Sharpenings everywhere. Okay, sorry, my camera seems to have just randomly stopped when I didn't realise, but I've started to do a little bit in the stonework. So I've done Nutshell in the stonework first, 2002, and I've just been working with Biscotti in the stonework as well. So I've done a little bit of the Nutshell in all of these stones at the bottom and all of these little sections in the roof tiles, and I was just working in with the Biscotti when I realised it wasn't recording again. I think my camera's suffering with a little bit of heat, and it's turning itself off, but it doesn't, unfortunately. It doesn't actually tell you that it's turning itself off, it just stops. Which is not obviously particularly helpful when you're looking here, not looking at the camera. But fortunately I noticed on the feed this time before I'd lost half it. Oh goodness. For a horrible moment then though, I thought I'd done the entire house and it hadn't recorded, but then I realised when I've just had a look, it had, so it was okay that I'd only lost a little bit of stone. Still annoying though, sorry. Okay, so thinking I want something quite light now, so the lightest colour I've got in my hand now is Morning Mist 2110, that I'm just going to work into the stones, but I'm not going to get rid of all of the white in the stones. I'm going to basically work this lighter colour into all the colours I've got already, but keeping just a central bit of highlight in each stone. But obviously these are quite little spaces, so and then the same in the rest of the roof tile. I'm just going to finish the shape off in this lighter one. Okay, just reaching for my Holbein white. It's not the super soft, it's just the normal white. I'm just going to use in the stones as well, just because it's a little bit more opaque than the Derwent one, and it's a little bit firmer than a Prisma. I want a point because these are small tiny little spaces, so don't think a Prisma is going to stay in these little spaces. Snap. What a surprise. Okay, as I've got a load of greys in my hand, I'm going to work into the window as well. So I've got Pebble, Again, just going to do a bit of random shapes. I've got morning mist. I want something just a bit darker. What's that one? Carbon grey. Just for a bit of shadow around the section. And I think we need a little bit of green in there. Let me flip to my greens. Have a look what we've got. I think I did use last time when I did I'm guessing because it was quite a few weeks ago, when I did the windows down there, I think I used olive yellow because it's quite kind of limey looking, like you're just getting a little bit of reflection of the trees and the greenery in the window, like that. Okay, so what have we got left? Obviously I need to do a little bit of pen work, but I think I'm going to colour all the rest of this in and then we'll do all the pen work for all of this section in one go. So I kind of need my greens back out, so I'm going to pop all my greys down for this background. And we've got leaves and we've got this kind of like blob of colour here at the front, so I need to get my greens back out. Probably going to pick very similar greens to what we've been using for all of this page's surface up to now. Just going to get a big handful of them out. So all the ones I've been using up to now, no surprises here. So I've got key lime, although come on, focus, there we go, key lime, is that 1720, chai 1825, light olive 1802, olivine 1801, foliage 1700, and olive yellow 1710. I'm just going to sharpen a couple of the lighter ones, those three just need to sharpen, the others are not too bad. Okay. Sharpening bits everywhere as usual. Okay, so I've got the olivine that I'm just going to start with these leaves in, I think, just to start to put a little bit of base shape into them as a start off. Again, they're only really small little shapes, so these are not going to take too long. I have had to open my window a bit more so that in an attempt to keep my camera from not overheating and staying on, because that's not funny when that happens, not when you've coloured quite a bit. Thankfully I hadn't today. But it does mean you might hear a bit more of my neighbour's activity, so sorry. Okay, so we've got kind of mid to dark green down. Then I'm thinking I'm going to put a little bit of the darker in. So this is light olive, although it looks pretty dark olive to me. Sometimes the names on pencils, they don't make a huge amount of sense, do they? Okay, and then I'm going to go in the lighter one. I think I'm going to stick with the olive yellow that we've just had out, that I just used in that little window, just to kind of pull these together. Snap. Leaving a little bit of highlight in them. Any more? These ones. Not done his jumper. To find him some jumper. How have I managed to miss that? I've already got the dark in these little bushes, so I'm going to use this colour as the light in these bushes at the bottom, as it's in my hand anyway. Looking at it, I think it's the olivine. Is it the olivine? Olivine or foliage? No, I think it's the foliage that's already in the little bushes. But they're very similar to what we've done in... I'm pointing to them and then I forget that you're close up. Very similar to what we did down here, so it didn't seem worth filming. Just putting a touch of it in the background as well, just kind of bring it together a little bit. Okay, so we've got the stalks. I think I might pick that out, the chai, for these little stalks. Yep. Left a little bit of a highlight in them, so I'm just going to use the key lime to keep the highlight but make it a little bit more green, so it kind of matches what's already there. Then we need to do some with this little bit of green at the bottom, so I'm thinking I'm going to go in with olivine. Just going to tilt you slightly so I can just get the angle I want. And same again, I'm going to have it a little bit darker at the bottom. Not being too precise with it, because it's a funny shaped blob anyway, isn't it? And then what colour over the top? Sorry, not turn my emails off. Let's mute it. I think we'll go with the olive yellow over the top. And then I want a little bit of shadow under his little feet. This is the chai again. And should we have a little bit of this? Yeah, I think we will, but I want it sharper. So this is the darker of the colours I had. Light olive, that's dark olive. I'm just going to put a few little kind of small little kind of grassy marks here and there. You have some bigger ones in the background if you can use your pencil without snapping it constantly like I am. Too heavy-handed. Okay, so we've just got his little jumper and some flowers. I'm going to keep probably the flowers to this kind of colour palette so that it makes sense on the page, because we've got kind of orange repeating at the top, we've got it in the middle with the jumpers, the flowers, and then obviously at the bottom with the mushroom and his jumper. So I'm going to keep with that kind of colour scheme so that it plays across all of the page visually quite easily. So I, off the top of my head, don't know the colours I've used, but we'll kind of just go with what I'm thinking. I've definitely got a yellow out there, so we'll have sun yellow. We've got quite a strong orange, which that is, and we need some medium oranges, which these are. So I don't know if these are the same as we used in the jumper and the flowers, but they'll be close enough, won't they? Visually they'll look similar even if they're not exactly the same. Sun yellow, flame, red orange and mango that I've got, and again these are quite small spaces, so I am going to sharpen them. There is part of me that's hoping these chroma flows are on sale on Prime Day. I'm filming this before Prime Day at the weekend, but yeah, I've used these quite a lot. I've used these a lot, let's be honest, since I've got them, and they're not short, well, some are. What's this one? Scarlet, that's what I've got left of Scarlet, but I think this is one of the older ones, Scarlet, so I'm not too worried about that, but some of these are starting to get a little bit. I thought I just turned that off. Apparently I didn't. Technology's not working with me today. Right, flowers. So I'm going to go in with the kind of, not the darkest of the ones that I've selected, this kind of medium one, which is flame. So I can add a little bit of darkness later. But for now, I'm just going to get a base of colour on these kind of bell looking flowers. I was half tempted to do these like they were little lights, because they kind of do look like the little lights, but because the background is so green and so daylighty looking, I thought that might look a bit silly, so they're just going to be flowery, not illuminated looking. So got some of that in. I'm going to go in with the medium, which is mango. I'm going to snap the mango just for a change. That's why I need some new ones. I've lost half of it just to snapping. And then back in with my sun yellow. Got these strange things on top of them, haven't they? Maybe I'll do that green. Oh. And then this is the darker one again, so this is red orange. Just adding the darker section. Just being a bit careful with this because I don't want too much of it, but just a little bit will help us form that kind of three-dimensional shape a bit more. Separate these little bits at the bottom. Sorry if you can hear my neighbour's grandchildren playing in the road. I think they're saying goodbye, which is why it's a little bit louder. There we go. So I think I'm fairly happy with them, but we've got to do these little things that I hadn't realised were on the top. So I don't think I want anything too kind of... Need something that's light enough because it's next to the oranges, so I'm thinking we're definitely going to need to use the limier one, the olive of the yellows. Maybe I might use these two. Let's sharpen them because these are tiny little spaces. Oh, and I've missed that little top bit off the roof as well. I need to fill that in. Fortunately, I've not put those away. So I'm going to put a little bit of this dark colour in on these little leafy shapes. No rolling in the way, oranges. In fact, let's move them because I don't need them for the minute, do I? A little bit of dark like that, and then I'll just finish them off with the limey bit. Again, trying to leave a little bit of white in these, otherwise I think we're likely to kind of lose them a little bit in the green background. Yeah, okay, so put my greens back in my green pile. Just need to get a couple of greys out for this top. So I've got carbon grey, just put a little bit dark on with that. On both, and then the light one, which was the light one, not that, morning mist, we'll do it with that one. And then we did use a little bit of whole vine in the stony bits, didn't we? Okay, so we just need this little jumper, and I'm thinking, as the others have all got orange jumpers, he should have a little bit of orange in his jumper. So this is back in with the flame from the colours that we just used in those flowers, so he kind of coordinates with what's going on everywhere else. And then in with the yellow, which was sun yellow. I'll just need to pen in these lines around his jumper. Okay, and I think we've done our little house there. We've got the leaves to do on here, so I shall grab out my greens again. Just put my yellow down in the wrong place. Okay, so I've got olivine. There we go. Olivine. And I'm just going to do the shadow on these kind of tiered kind of leaves. I'll put some in these kind of grass shapes as well. And I think I'm going to use it for the bottom of this kind of grassy mass at the bottom. Then back in with my olive yellow for the highlights on these leaf shapes. Again, just leaving a little bit of white here and there just to make the leaf look a little bit reflective, a little bit kind of like it's catching a bit of light. Sorry for tilting you, it's a bit of a funny angle otherwise. Again, just bringing a bit of this colour into the background so it kind of pulls these items together a little bit. Plus there's quite a lot of texture left on the page around here, so, and I don't like that. Could go over with an alcohol marker or a blender pen or something like that to soften it in if you're not a lover of this kind of, you know what I mean, you can kind of see the grain of the page, can't you? I'm not a lover of it personally. I quite like using the chroma flow in this book because it's pretty good that if you do work into the page quite a bit, you can get rid of quite a lot without having to use a pen, but obviously it would be quicker with a pen rather than keep having to apply layer after layer. But it's just it's cheap paper, isn't it? So you've got a rougher, coarser texture, which you can see in sections. Okay, so we've just got these, which could be flowers or they could be leaves, couldn't they? I think for the leaves on the stem, I'm going to use this slightly darker colour, just because I think they're in danger of getting a little bit lost down there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of dark darkness on them to start off with. I kind of think I want to use these as, they kind of look a bit clovery though, don't they, as well? I can't decide whether to do them in colour or leaf colours. There's a lot of green on this page, isn't there? Maybe we'll do them as flowers. Just because I think I'm greened out on this page. We'll go back to me oranges. I think there probably are supposed to be some kind of leafy thing, but tough. I want it in colour. So we're back in with the normal oranges. Red orange, this is the darkest one out of those that I've just got out when I was doing these ones. And then this is the medium one, which is mango. Again, just going to leave a little bit of the white of the page showing through here and there, just so it feels like there's a little bit of light coming through them. Yeah. Oh, I've got carrot as well while I've got oranges in my hand. I think we'll go the mid one, so flame for Mr. Carrot in a pot here. I quite like this carrot in a pot, he is quite cute. And then I should have said this one's mango. Just don't want to obliterate his little cute face. So I think I'm going to do his little face sun yellow, just so he doesn't get lost in the orange. And it kind of draws attention to his little cheeky face. There you go, Mr. Carrot, you've got your colour. And then we need some greens for his stalks. I think we want these quite fresh looking greens for a stalk, don't we? We've got anything that's more stalky? Yeah, might use this one. I don't get out very often, so spring bud. I think we did use it quite a bit in the background, didn't we? But I want these looking quite fresh green. So I'm using that as the darkest, and then key lime again for the rest of the leaf shapes. Leaving again a little bit of highlight here and there, just to give it a bit of shape. What colour are we going to do as plant pot? That's the question though. Can't really do it orange, can we? I think I might go reds. So I've got the red out from earlier in the wood, so that might make sense, so that those two are sat next to each other. So we'll put that on the edge, I think, like that. And we could use that sangria as well. Where is it? Not that one. Yep, so sangria. Just to put a little bit of shadow on the very edge. And then we need something for the highlight. I think I might just go with the creamy colour we were using before. So this is peach sand that we used in the doorway. Just using that for the highlight section of the little pot. Plant pot. There we go. And then I'm going to do these little leafy bits as well. The question is, am I going to do them like they're flowers? I think these do look like leaves, don't they? So I think I kind of have to go with the greens. Let's get my handful of greens back out. What do we want? Let's have a look. I think I'm going to do the darker bit in them again. Otherwise, again, they're in a lot of green backgrounds, so let's add a bit of shadow. And then key lime or the other one. Yeah, I think we'll do olive yellow, not the key lime. In these little ones. Okay, is that our top line done? I think it is. So I need a bit of pen work, got quite a bit of line, particularly around Mr. Carrot there. I don't want his massive line around him, but we'll come back to line work at the end. And then middle row is pretty much done. So we're just at the point of Mr. Tortoise down the bottom here that needs a little bit of work on. So I'm gonna just, excuse me moving you, but I'm just moving you the camera down my desk a little bit so that I'm not basically reaching to the edge of my desk to get. So okay, so colour wise, still got quite a bit of greens, and I've still got the greens in my hand. Ooh, can't get used to where the camera's moved to now. So I'm going to do the green work and this leaf work, and obviously this leaf, and then we'll make a decision about what colour my tortoise is going to be. And I know at this point you're probably saying a tortoise is green, Wendy. Yeah, but is it? Does it have to be? He could be like painted tortoise, couldn't he? Could be like really exciting colours. I could make him orange or pink like the rest of the page. This is the, oh see, I can't get used to where the camera's gone to. Light olive 1802, just to put the shadow in on these leaves, because again the green is very strong behind them, and in order to lift them off the page a bit, I think we do need the bit of contrast in them to be a little bit darker. So just putting a little bit of shadow in all of them. Let's move you up that way a little bit, I think. Just then I'm not balancing on the edge of my desk. Paranoid that it's going to switch off now and I'm not looking. So yeah, if there's a funny jump in the footage, that's why. I have opened my window quite wide now to try and cool it off. So who knows? I use a constant battery, so it's like a dummy battery that actually plugs into the electric power. So it's not got a proper battery in it. It's got a pretend battery in it. I have just filmed my Artex oil pastel video before this, and that was way over an hour. In the original footage, it won't be in the actual video, over an hour, but so my camera is hot, and I think that's why it doesn't take too much to be too much for it. To get its own fan. See, if I put a fan on it, it's going to be noisy, isn't it? Right, I want to put some medium greens in just this bigger one, I think. Medium one is the foliage. See, now it won't focus. foliage. I probably won't put some mediums in these small ones, but that's probably a bit big, that leaf, to just have one. And then we'll go key lime, or what's the other one? We use olive yellow, we'll do that one. Olive yellow. No, doesn't want to show you, but it is, it's olive yellow in the others. The same as before, just leave it a little bit of white in them, just so that they don't feel totally flat. Yeah, I think this background could do with a bit more layers of colour layering over. Still a bit grainy in parts. And so on, but I'll probably do the rest of that off camera. Okay, so we've got all of this kind of grassy thing. I'm going to do the same as I've done on all of them, just going to put a slightly darker tone at the bottom. Because this is the bottom of the page as well, I'm just going to add a little bit of darkness across. Then we want a green to go over. I'm going to use the yellow olive to go over the top. Then a little bit of darkness back in these bushes, so basically behind where we can see the tufty bits. And behind where the grass is in front of it, just to kind of give it a bit of shape. And then pick in the same olive yellow into the bush. some reason I haven't put any in those leaves, so we'll do those as well while I'm there. And then again, just a little bit of the darker marks behind. Okay, so it just leaves us with my tortoise and his little fishing pole. I think I'll do his fishing pole first. Well, I've got these browns from the stones that were next to me. Anyway, just put all my greens down. So all these back up. Just want something dark for under the bottom side of the pole. This is the coffee bean that again we had out for the wood. I'm just putting along the bottom of the pole, but of course I snapped it. And then I want something light, so I'm thinking that one might do. What's that one? That one is burnt sienna. Burnt sienna that I'm just going to use along the top for the highlight of the pole. And then I might go back in with the coffee bean just for the little thread that's attaching the leaf. Like that. Okay, so what colour is a tortoise? I know he's green. Just used a lot of greens, haven't we? So I'm going to pick a couple of different ones out, I think. So I'm going to pick this one that's still in the pack out, leaf green. That's quite dark for a leaf. But I think I'm going to put the shading on him with this dark colour first. And then I'll brighten him up a little bit once we've got some shape into him a little bit. For his little feet, and under the shell we want shadow. Okay, then what colour else have I got? This is pickle. It kind of feels a bit grey-green. I think I might do him with this. And so for the last colour, I think we're going to have a look what Pear looks like on top as the highlight. Should warm him up a little bit because I think this has a bit more yellow in it, but yeah. I think I'm going to do his little nails and some of the browns we had out earlier. So burnt sienna and redwood. And put the dark one, redwood, on first. They probably should be green, his little nails, shouldn't they? But there's so much green on this page already. I kind of wanted something a bit different. Okay, just got his shell, which is greens again, isn't it, really? So I'm picking out the darkest green I have, well, the darkest. So there's obsidian green, which is kind of, again, it's quite a grey looking green, and light olive are the two darkest ones out the set, I think. Light olive's the one we've been using a lot, but I'm thinking for the shell, I'm going to want a bit more, just because I wanted his shell to look different from all the leaves and background and things we've been doing. So I'm going to use quite a bit of this first, I think. Got a bit more blue in it, I think, this green, actually, looking at it down on the paper. So everywhere I want. And then I'm thinking maybe a bit of burnt sienna in as well. And a little bit of the coffee bean, which does more focus, but it's coffee bean. Shadow underneath him, so it feels like he's on top of it. Not so sure about my torture shadow effect, but we started, so we'll have to go with it. Thinking maybe a little bit of yellow. There's a mustardy yellow, I think we need something like that, just to bring all these together. Let me have a look what there is. Oh yeah, that might do. What's this colour? Golden Sun. See what that's like. Oh yeah, that's what we need, just to bring it together a bit, I think. Should have been doing his little edge as well while I had all these out. And I've not. Where have I put that dark green? Light olive, wasn't that? Coffee bean, wasn't that? Is that it? Obsidian, that was it, wasn't it? And back in with the brown coffee bean. And then what did I use? Not that. Oh, it was the burnt sienna, wasn't it? I'll go mad with this, so there'll be no space left for the last one. And then the last one was Golden Sun, just to finishing off. Don't mind the Tesco delivery man in the background, backing up his truck. Okay. So, move my mini pencils off. Just got pencils everywhere. Might have to move you back on the desk a bit. There we go. Okay, so we're pretty much... Oh, too far. We are pretty much done, aren't we? I've got quite a lot of acrylic pen work to do. So, carrot, these flower heads, I'll probably take some of the lines out of the stone and the wood, and these flower stalks here where you can see the black line around the edge of the flowers. So I've got quite a bit of line work to do here where we've worked today, and these little flower stalks in the background there. And then on our little tortoise bit, we've got the line that runs underneath. I'll probably take that out. I need to take it out on our first one actually. Don't seem to have done that. And I've got quite a bit of line work to do around this section, but you've seen me take one line out, you've seen me take 100 lines out, haven't you? So I'm not gonna film myself painting all the lines out with my pens. I'm probably gonna do them with this time. Oh, I don't knock everything else off on the side. So I've got this set recently, my Gabi brush tone markers, and these have really nice tips in and really nice colours. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to do my line work with those on a lot of this page. And yeah, I'll come back and show you the very finished. I might do a couple more coats on a bit of the green where you can kind of see the page a little bit as well. Some sections just need a little bit more work with the green on top, just to build up the surface to that kind of smooth finish that I like. But pretty much that's all the colour work done, just a little bit of final touches. And like I say, you've seen me do a lot of the line work on this one and a little bit on this one anyway. So I'll come back to you when I've done all of that line work, and we can see if there's anything else we want to do after that. I'm not thinking there might be, but you can see it as it's finished. So see you in a minute. Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty much done with this page really. So I've done quite a bit of pen work in the flowers, around the edge of the little house, a little bit in the mushrooms. I've not done all the edges of the leaves, but I've done a lot of them, and obviously the bottoms of some of this I've done a little bit, and I've done another coat of some of this green in the background. There's still the odd bit that's here that's a little bit patchy, but I think all in all I'm going to live with where I'm up to with it, because in the main I think I'm happy. What I did think I might add just before we call it a day with this page is maybe a little bit of sparkle. So I've got my Nouveau brushes out. I have glitter gloss, which I think is clear just with like a bit of sparkle in. I've got opal quartz, which doesn't show up particularly well because it's in quite a dark font. I've got Midas Touch, and I've got, this one's very hard to read, I'm going to have to look myself, Blush Rosette. But yeah, those. So I'm thinking I might do just a little bit on some of the tops of the mushrooms, maybe a little bit on my teapot, but I haven't thought much about which one. Oh, this one's a bit flooded, so I'm going to pop a bit down. I think this, is this the blush one that we can't read? Yeah, I think the blush is probably a no, but I'm thinking maybe Midas Touch, which I think has a bit of gold in, if it wants to work. That might be useful, because that is quite pretty. If the light catches it, it's quite pretty. So that's quite nice. This one, which is lovely on fairy rings, but I'm not thinking, I don't really want to unscrew it. That's not what I want to do. Oh, the cap is tight on this one. Oh, there we go. But, oh no, that's not what we go. That's not what I wanted, was it? What is going on with this top? Didn't even know you could do that. I think that should be part of the lid, shouldn't it? Okay. That wasn't quite what I had planned. However, I have used this quite a bit, so maybe some of it got a little bit dry on it and it's kind of sealed it together. But it's quite subtle, that, like I say, in the main, I use it for fairy wings on things that I can't use watercolour paint. Not even sure it's picking it up very well, is it, the camera? I'm thinking that one's a no. And then obviously the clear one, again, needs a bit of a squeeze, I think. The clear one has a silver glitter in, but I'm quite liking the gold glitter actually. I don't even think I can pick the clear one up. It's too clear today. I think there's definitely a bit more gold in the Midas Touch one. Maybe a bit of both of these two, I'm thinking. I do also have the Spectrum Noir version, what's it called? Sparkle. That again is very similar. Oh look, I've just done the same thing with that pen. What is the chances of that? It's clearly something I'm doing. Ugh. Twice in one day. I've never done that before, ever. Chances. So I still have this one as well. And I do like this one. We'll put it on the paper just for argument's sake. And I think it probably does have a bit more sparkle in it than the shimmer one in this brand. But I just know it always rubs off. And then it means I have to spray it. And when I sprayed this last time, was it the end page that I did? I think it was. When I sprayed this one, it did run some of those cheaper acrylic markers that I've been using. So it looks like it's the pink of the cheap acrylic markers that I was using to do some of the line work. I think it's this purple actually, because it's everywhere I've used the dark purple. Fortunately it didn't affect the front of the image, but in order to keep the sparkle on this bit of the page, I had to actually fix it. So I'm going to try and avoid that and use these ones today instead. Managed to get tat everywhere. So I just thought I'd add a little bit of, just a bit of sparkle, just to make it a bit more exciting. I think I did use a little bit of dual hybrid on these mushrooms because they've got a little bit of sparkle on them already, but I'm thinking a little bit of this might be quite nice as well. Maybe gold wasn't the best choice for the blue one. Maybe I'll do some of the other one on the blue one. Just for a little bit of magic on it. I do like these little glittery pens. They're ideal for your Amazon books. You know, I can't really use your watercolour in your Amazon books, can you? So these will just give a little bit of something without it warping the page, and you know, you don't have to worry about it so much, particularly if, like me now, you've pretty much covered the whole page, so you know you've got a good layer of kind of waxy oil already on here that's protecting the page a little bit anyway. So you may as well add a little bit of something. Yeah, quite like it in the orange bits. I think it kind of works. I don't know how much you can see it really. Not very well, I think is the answer. A little bit. Just adds a little bit of something, doesn't it, I think. I want to squeeze a bit more out, but I don't want to squeeze it all over the page, so I'll not risk it on my page, and I'll get it going on the paper next to me. Obviously it's resisting a little bit, and this little mushroom's resisting it a lot compared to the others, but it still leave you with a little bit of sparkle. Tempted to do it in the little jumpers. I know tortoise is not sparkly, but today he is. Today I want a little bit of sparkle. I'm going to give his leaf a little bit as well. About carrot, I think carrot should have a bit, shouldn't he? Quite like the little carrot. And these little leaves, they can have a bit as well. Right, we'll try with the clear one, just on this blue one, because I don't think the gold really suits the blue mushroom. And maybe a bit on my teapot. Again, needs squeezing, but I don't want to do it all over my page, so let's get it going on there. Just make it back up off there as well. I think I'm going to put some on his shell. Oh, sorry. You're off the page. Off the screen even. He's putting a little bit on his shell. Maybe on the leaves as well. Might have got a bit of dew on them or something. Okay, and I think I'm going to say that this is done. He's got a little bit of shimmer now. It's very difficult to pick up, but just a little bit of sparkle here and there. So the tortoise, who's very blingy, but you know, everybody wants a bit of bling on their tortoise, don't they? So yeah, I think that's my colour along finished for this particular page. Mainly, as you saw, just purely in Derwent 150 Chroma Flows. I've used obviously these that we've just had out. I think I did use a little bit of the, was it the Light Wish Gold? I think it was, now I'm looking at it. A little bit of the Light Wish Gold on the line work, on the little bits of pattern on these mushrooms. And I've used a variety of acrylic markers. I've been using my grabby ones, the brush ones, in these two that I've just done, and that cheap set in the ones that I was doing earlier before I had those. Yeah, I do prefer it with a bit of acrylic marker on, as you know, but it's personal choice. You could have done this and left the lines, totally your choice. So I'm thinking next colour on that I might do, if I can grab it, if I got it handy. Ugh. I'm thinking I'm probably going to do something in the little Tiny Petits book that Coolio have just sent me, because I've picked this for my colouring plans anyway. And I had a few little pages. Just move my keyboard before I switched everything off by letting it fall. I had a few little pages pulled for this book, so could do the little mice page. I quite like those. I definitely like this little fairy page where she's got little jewellery box, and I think she's just sat on two big leaves on this one, isn't she? And I also quite like the bugs in this page. So yeah, if you're watching the colour alongs, particularly if you've watched them all, I suppose, and they're of interest to you, would you like to see any of those in particular? But they're what I'm thinking I'm going to do this month going into next for a colour along. Again, just in the two, well, obviously one of them's got 6, hasn't it? The fairies are 2, and I think the bugs are, how many bugs? 4. So I'd probably divide it into that amount of actual videos. So they're reasonably quick, because this one has taken me, even though they're small, this has still taken me quite a while. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, particularly those of you that have watched all of them. I don't do a huge amount of colour alongs. I've got to be honest, they take a lot of time in terms of videoing, and they get the least amount of viewers. So it is a bit, yeah, it's a bit depressing sometimes when you've spent hours doing something and then like 50 people have watched it. But I've been enjoying working in this book anyway, so I've done it because I wanted to do this page as well, so it made sense to share it. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on if we do some in this one. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.